Welcome friends. Today we shall talk about post-literacy program and Shikshan Sansthan. The main objectives of today's deliberation are to understand the definition and perspective of post-literacy. We will try to highlight the objectives of post-literacy program and also target groups for post-literacy program and its organizational setup. Finally, we shall talk about Shikshan Sansthan, that is JSS. First of all, let's have a brief introduction of the subject. As we know, total literacy campaigns have shown that there is considerable enthusiasm to learn as opposed to the traditional view that learners are disinterested or inhibited. That has proved to be a myth. Total literacy campaigns have resulted in a positive change in attitude to upgrade skills and adopt it for individual development and eventually for social action. It's well recognized that those neo-literates who acquire basic literacy skills through the literacy campaigns would face great difficulty in retaining it, and unless timely measures are taken, most of them may lapse back into illiteracy. A great deal of variation in the levels of literacy achieved by individual learners under TLC has also been experienced. While a large number achieve literacy levels laid down by National Literacy Mission, a significant number do not, and many remain non-starters. In most of the backward regions with poor learning environment, there is a great possibility of relapse. Post-literacy programs attempt to give learners an opportunity to harness and develop their learning potential after attaining basic literacy under TLCs or total literacy campaigns. There it is absolutely essential that those who once acquire basic skills, reading, writing and numeracy, be made permanent by reinforcement through post-literacy programs. Now let's come to definition of post-literacy. The term post-literacy has different meanings in various educational systems. In some countries, the term post-literacy is used loosely to include all forms of education which follow after the achievement of basic literacy. While as in some other countries, post-literacy is defined more narrowly to simply consolidate basic literacy skills to a level equivalent to the level achieved after primary schooling in the formal system. In this system, post-literacy is considered as a bridge between primary schooling or its equivalent and further study. The definition accepted by the National Literacy Mission lies somewhere between these two extremes. Thus, the aim of National Literacy Mission is to consolidate the basic literacy skills of speaking, reading, writing, numeracy and problem solving. In other words, transforming the learners into an educated whole person who is a productive socio-economic asset to the community. Now, let us know the perspective of post-literacy programs. The limited impact of earlier adult education program and lack of systematic follow-up has been one of the main reasons for attaching more importance to the post-literacy as a regular organized program. National Literacy Mission visualized post-literacy campaign as an extension of total literacy campaigns in the continuum of lifelong learning. Each TLC or total literacy campaign is to be followed by a 2-year post-literacy program to be implemented in a mission mode. National Literacy Mission emphasized that 3 basic elements be kept in mind while planning a program for post-literacy and continuing education. These are identification of learning needs of the neoliterates, provision of learning opportunities to meet the needs, and creating a socio-economic, political and cultural ambience to sustain the learning environment. Therefore, National Literacy Mission envisages post-literacy program to be developed in the context of lifelong education and improving the quality of life as a whole. National Literacy Mission has laid considerable emphasis on timely planning, preparation and launching of a 2-year post-literacy program for neoliterates soon after the conclusion of total literacy campaigns. In spite of the vast variations in geographic, political, social, economic and cultural conditions prevailing in different regions and areas, there is some commonality of challenges which each area has to face while embarking on the course to post-literacy and continuing education programs. Therefore, every district or state will have to design and formulate operational strategy for post-literacy programs having regard to certain basic considerations which include: number 1, defining needs; 2, defining objectives; 3, defining target groups; 4, initiating newer organizational process and structures; 5, selecting learning methods and materials; 6, choosing content and communication media; 7, recruiting volunteer teachers or functionaries; 8, training of functionaries; 9, evaluation and feedback. Commonly described as post-literacy campaigns, PLCs include about 50 hours of guided learning through volunteer teacher to reach a self-reliant level of learning. The subsequent phase of learning consists of self-directed continuing education through library service, newspapers for neoliterates, group discussions and other activities such as skill development and vocational training. Now, let's come to objectives of post-literacy campaign. The key aim of post-literacy campaign is to ensure that participants become adequately functionally literate. That is the prerequisite for autonomous learning and development of a learning society. PLC addresses itself to the objectives as remediation, that is, those not covered by TLC to be made literate; those below minimum level of learning to be enabled to achieve it; continuation, that is, stabilization, reinforcement and upgradation of learning; application, to living and working conditions; communitization, that is, group action for participation in development process; skill training, that is, life skills, communication skills and vocational skills. Now, let's see who are the target groups for post-literacy. As envisaged by National Literacy Mission, post-literacy program should be open to all who is interested in enriching his or her life through reading and learning. But the post-literacy campaign is to be specifically designed to serve, number 1, neoliterates in the age group 9-14 years who completed basic literacy under total literacy campaign; number 2, neoliterates in the age group 15-35 years; number 3, semi-literates or dropouts from basic literacy phase; number 4, dropouts from primary schools; number 5, pass outs from non-formal education programs. Now, let's also know about the organizational structure of post-literacy program. In order to ensure success an organizational structure has been set up which rests on three main pillars, and these pillars are administration, representative people's committees, and full-time project structure. The structure works at panchayat, block and district levels through Saksharta Samitis involving local community, representatives of NGOs, youth, local school heads, Panchayat Raj and other functionaries of various departments. The working and implementation of post-literacy is monitored and supervised by monitoring committee with representatives from Gram Panchayat, Health Department, Headmaster, local school, prominent citizens, etc. For a whole-time management support, workers are engaged on salary basis. The management structure works at village, cluster and block levels so that a constant dialogue and communication is coordinated at all these levels. Now let us see what the learning strategies in post-literacy are. High flexibility and innovation has been encouraged by National Literacy Mission in designing and implementation of post-literacy campaigns. Post-literacy project has to take into account the competence levels reached by the learners in basic literacy phase, cognitive ability, felt needs, and other area-specific socio-cultural dimensions. The approach most commonly followed comprises of providing post-literacy primary graded textual material to the learners in the first phase for guided study with the help of volunteer instructor. In the second phase, learners are provided with a variety of supplementary reading material covering all aspects relating to life quality of an individual learner. The aim of post-literacy is to ensure that every learner is systematically covered so that there is no relapse and he or she reaches self-reliant levels of learning. Information material is also provided in the post-literacy center to keep the community or learners informed about the schemes and programs of their interest. Thus, the purpose of post-literacy is stabilizing command over literacy, which is to be achieved through structured, guided reading, instruction, and promotion of writing skills. In order to generate awareness among the learners and to inform them about the variety of areas and schemes, emphasis has been laid on use of television and radio besides engagement of theatre groups and cultural organizations. Interaction sessions with experts from various fields like agriculture, health, technology, etc. is also stressed upon. Since post-literacy is a program which covers age groups 15-35 years and 9-14 years, it is emphasized that learning materials be designed according to age and suitable to their interest and requirements. Therefore, a comprehensive instructional plan needs to be drawn so as to cater to the needs of all groups covered under post-literacy program. For those children in 9-14 age group who have acquired basic literacy skills under total literacy campaign, a different post-literacy strategy needs to be evolved than that relevant for adults in 15-35 age group. If more durable and longer duration exposure to learning is not planned for 9-14 age group, fragile literacy can disappear quickly or maybe completely. Therefore, the goal of post-literacy for this age group should be that the learners should ultimately reach class 4 standard. In case of 15-35 age group, which is considered to be the most productive age group, post-literacy may be planned for 2 years duration so that a well-organized learning environment is offered to the learners, which should include structured learning of functional literacy, group activities, exchange of experiences, discussions, problem solving, and generating desire for self-education and interest for relevant vocational training. In view of the need to provide learning opportunities on a continuing basis, National Literacy Mission designed a scheme of continuing education for neo-literates. The main objective of this scheme is to institutionalize education of neo-literates and provide flexibility in designing and implementation of the diverse kind of continuing education programs suited to the felt needs of the neo-literates. The scheme has classified the continuing education programs broadly into 4 categories. Number 1, equivalency programs, designed as alternative education programs equivalent to existing formal, general or vocational education. Number 2, income generating programs. In this, participants acquire or upgrade vocational skills, enabling them to take up income generating activities. Number 3, quality of life improvement programs. These aim to equip the learners and the community with the essential knowledge, attitude, value and skills both as individuals and members of the community. Number 4, individuals' interest promotion programs. These provide opportunity for individuals to participate in and learn about their own chosen social, cultural, spiritual, health, physical and artistic interests. This scheme envisages implementation of continuing education programs through Zilla Saksharta Samitis for establishment of continuing education centers in the district soon after completion of post-literacy programs. Continuing education centers will essentially be community education centers. Under this scheme, one continuing education center is to be established in a village of 1500 population, which may include neo-literates, dropouts, pass-outs from primary schools and non-formal education stream. Now, the principal function of continuing education center is to provide the following facilities: library, reading room, learning center for continuing education programs, training center for short duration training for skill upgradation, information centers for various development programs and schemes, Charcha Mandal, that is community meeting place for sharing ideas and solving problems, development center for coordinating services of government agencies and non-government organizations, cultural center and sports center. These strategies are expected to be a step forward towards lifelong learning through continuing education program. In order to ensure sustenance and continuation of learning together with skill development, Shikshan Sansthan's have been set up in most of the districts in the post-literacy phase. Now, let us see what Shikshan Sansthan is. Shikshan Sansthan is an institute of people's education, formerly known as Shramik Vidyapeeth. In fact, it is an institutional framework for offering non-formal, vocational and skill upgradation training programs to adults in the disadvantaged groups with the focus on neoliterates, non-literates, less educated, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe women, etc. Jan Shikshan Sansthan is to provide academic and resource support to Zilla Saksharta Samitis for taking up vocational training programs under continuing education. Jan Shikshan Sansthan is to function as a nodal continuing education center and can run 10 to 15 continuing education centers under its own supervision and control. The functions of Jan Shikshan Sansthan include organizing equivalency programs through open learning system and promotion of national goals through polyvalent education. Jan Shikshan Sansthan can be set up or established under the aegis of some NGO or can be registered as an NGO itself. There needs to be a board of management to look after the working and other administrative requirements of Jan Shikshan Sansthan. Jan Shikshan Sansthan has been put under 3 categories, A, B and C, depending upon location and performance. Jan Shikshan Sansthan offer 225 vocational training courses from dressmaking to computer operation. So far, nearly 190 Jan Shikshan Sansthans have been set up in the country and more are likely to come up. With these initiatives, literacy campaigns become a parallel strategy of formal educational system for the overall development of the society as a whole. And with this, we conclude today's lecture and I hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you.